One of the most important things in Tarkov are keys. There are tons of keys you'll want to be keeping an eye out for early on for quests that come later on down the line, but there are also a ton of keys that you'll need very, very early on in just your first 10 to 15 quests that you'll have to be finding very quickly if you want to keep up with those quests. In this video, we'll be going over the 10 most important keys that I think you should be looking for upon your first raid and your first few hours of wipe. In addition, at the end, we'll have a few honorable mentions for those newer players so that you guys know what keys you should probably keep an eye out for and where to find them if they have static spawns. Hi, I'm Slayers, and welcome to another video here on the Slayers Gaming channel. In this video, I'll be going over your top 10 priority keys to be looking out for on your first few raids. If you find these keys, you should be immediately throwing them into your secure container so that you're not going to miss out on having them when you reach the quest that they have something to do with. Sometimes some of these will be much later on, some of them will be much earlier on, but when it comes down to it, you're going to need each of these keys at some point very early on in the game. Before I go any further, if you do enjoy the video, if you find the video to be helpful, I'd greatly appreciate it if you would go ahead and like the video at that point, and then comment down below what keys you struggle to find early on in wipe, or what keys you think are the most high priority keys to be looking for on day one of wipe. The first key that I want to go over here is going to be dorm room 206 key. This key is going to be the key that you need to get into the water room, and this is one of the first keys that you're going to get stuck on in terms of getting gatekept from completing other tasks if you don't find this key. Now, I personally normally find this key on either dead scavs or in jackets. Usually on my first couple of raids, I hit dorms or I kill as many scavs as possible and check their pockets for this key. This key is one of the few keys early on in the game that does not spawn in filing cabinets at all. So while you're hitting those filing cabinets, this key is not going to be one of those that you're looking for in those filing cabinets. You're going to be keeping an eye out for a few of the other keys that we mentioned in this list, but if you're looking specifically for 206 key and you're farming specifically for this key because you're waiting on finding it to complete that task, you're going to want to be killing scavs, checking their bodies, and hitting jackets. That's the best way. Your best option for farming jackets early on is going to be going customs and hitting those dorms buildings. There's a few scattered jackets on the external of the map as well, but dorms is going to be the most concentrated area for as many jackets as possible to get this key early on. The next priority key we're going to be talking about is the Tarcone Director's Key. This is the old customs office key. Now, there is a barter from Therapist for this, but in my personal experience, it's really not worth it to be bartering for this key. You can take those items and sell them and make a whole lot more money than if you barter for this key. Instead, while you can find this key in jackets just like the others, this key is actually super common in filing cabinets. So if you're hitting filing cabinets, this is one of those keys that you're going to want to be throwing in your secure container as soon as you find it. You need it for multiple different tasks. So you're going to want to make sure that you're picking it up as early as possible so that you're not gatekept when you hit those tasks. Once you have completed that first task, make sure that you hold on to it, because not only is there a safe in here, but there are multiple other quests later on down the line that you'll need to be going in to this office to get and complete. The next key that we're going to go over is the factory exit key. Now, this key is really great to find early wipe. When I farmed the 1000 jackets, we found this key like 2% of the time, if I'm not mistaken. This key is one, super valuable early wipe, but in addition to that, you get multiple different extraction options and rotation options on different maps. So on customs, you get one extra rotation option by being able to use the factory shortcut, and in addition to this, you can also take the exit at ZB13 if the power is turned on. So this is a great option for giving you extra extractions on customs and giving you some rotation options that you wouldn't have had access to without it. In addition, on factory, you'll get 2 extra extracts. The factory exit key can be found most commonly in jackets. This key spawns about 2% of the time in jackets, which is actually a super high rate for keys in this game. So just keep farming jackets. After about 50, you should find a factory exit key. The next 2 keys we're going to put together in one, as they're only needed for one quest. That's going to be dorm room 303 key and trailer park portable cabin key. Now, dorm room 303 key is one of the keys that's in that small pool of keys that are available in filing cabinets. So as you're hitting filing cabinets, this key should be one of the more common ones that you find a lot more often. It's not worth a whole lot. It's very common on scavs and in jackets, but I generally find these most often in filing cabinets as they have a much smaller loot pool. The other one is the trailer park portable cabin key. This is the 5th key on our list. This key is actually provided to you in the quest, but a lot of people I've seen get them mixed up because there's so many different cabin keys. This is the key that you're going to want to make sure that as soon as you get it from the quest, you kind of set that aside and keep it for when you get dorm room 303, or put it next to your dorm room 303 key, so that when you get golden swag, you can go get the golden Zippo lighter, go immediately and place the Zippo in that trailer park portable cabin, and then you can complete that quest really early on as well. The next key is going to be dorm room 203 key. You're going to need this key for the shaking up teller quest. This is another one of those keys that spawns in filing cabinets. Thank God for the filing cabinet keys, because they're so much easier to find than the other keys that you'll be looking for. So make sure you're hitting those filing cabinets. This one is dorm room 203. A lot of people get 203 and 303 mixed up. Just make sure you get both of them, keep both of them aside, and then if you don't remember which one you need for which quest, throw them both in your secure container and then just run both so you won't be missing it. The next key that we'll be going over is going to be dorm room 114 key. This is back to one of those keys that you cannot find in filing cabinets. I personally tend to find this key early wipe usually in dorms, in jackets, or on dead scavs. Most of the time though, I farm a ton of jackets early wipe, so hitting the jackets in dorms or on your scav, you can run the village on shoreline, or you can run reserve and hit all of the jacket spawns there. This is the best way that I have found to find this key. The dorm room 114 is one of the bigger ones. You're going to need this key first for the pharmacist task, where you have to go in and pick up the documents case, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe the briefcase on top of the safe. But in addition, this room has a med spawn, this room has a med case, it has a PC and a safe. So this is one of those keys that once you get, you're going to want to be hitting it almost every raid. So you want to make sure that you're looking for this key, because it's going to add a lot of value to your raids as you go throughout the wipe. One extra thing that I want to note with the dorm room 114 key, dorm room 114 key technically has a somewhat static spawn. There's one particular jacket that is more likely to spawn it than any other jacket in the game. This jacket is in the back of the blue car at the scav checkpoint. You're going to go over there, open that blue car. There's going to be a jacket right there, kind of in the trunk. If you check that jacket, it's more likely to spawn meds and dorm room 114. So this is a great place to be checking for your Saluas, or maybe to get a cheeky grizzly early on. But in addition to that, you can get a higher chance to get the dorm room 114 key. So be checking that jacket to ensure that you're getting your Saluas and the dorm room 114 key early on. We've got 2 more customs keys left on this list, but only one more that has to do with quests. This one is going to be the dorm room 220 key. This key is very, very valuable early on in wipe. In addition to that, even right now in late wipe, we're probably 4 to 5 days before the wipe is going to come. If I look up dorm room 220 key, I cannot even get one on the market without bartering. So this is one of those keys that you're going to want to be searching for as much as possible. The best places to find this are going to be in those filing cabinets. Again, I don't have any issue finding any of the keys in filing cabinets. What I do is I run my PMCs, I hit jackets, and I look for all the other keys. And then on my scavs, I run reserve, which has the most filing cabinets of any map. So just pull up a map that has all those filing cabinets listed on it and hit as many filing cabinets as you can on your scav. When you find one of these keys that's super valuable to you early wipe because you need it for a quest, I'll make my way to the extract immediately. So I've actually made a last minute change on the 9th key here. I initially had dorm room 214 key here. While that is definitely one of the best keys in terms of early wipe, it gets you into a safe early on and everything, I've decided to go with dorm room 110 key instead. The primary reason for this is that it's right across from dorm room 114. So you want to be picking up this key because when you get the 114 key, if you have 110 as well, you've got 2 safes right across from each other that you can be hitting. It's going to give you much more options in terms of getting the safe items that you'll need for later on in wipe. So getting this key is great. You'll be able to avoid the more clustered and cluttered 3-story dorms and be able to kind of sit in the quieter, a lot of times, 2-story dorms. Now, some people will be in there doing their 206 key task and the pharmacist task early on, but as the wipe goes on, this one is generally where I find less fights. I can generally run in here, grab these 2 safes, and get out pretty safely. So the 110 key is going to be our next one. This one can also be found in jackets and on dead scavs. This is not one of the ones you're going to want to be looking for in filing cabinets. So if you're making notes on all these, don't be looking for this one in filing cabinets. Once you've got your filing cabinet keys, you can stop looking in those and start looking in jackets instead, once the only ones left on your list are the jacket keys. The final key on this list is another quest key, but we're going to come off of customs and move over to interchange. The biggest reason that we picked this key is because me and my editor for this video decided that this was the key that we struggled finding the most and what we end up having to purchase in most wipes. We always have to spend a hell of a lot of money on this key just because we are unable to find it before we reach this quest. That's going to be the OLI Logistics Key. Now, you'll need this pretty early on, as it's only one of the second or third tasks on Interchange where you have to go around and collect manifests. This is the individual manifest that you have to go and find in OLI, and you'll need this key to get into that room. This is one of the rarest keys in the game. It does spawn in jackets. It does not spawn in filing cabinets, but I think the only time that I found it in my playtime is on a dead scab. I'd recommend farming jackets for it, but it's got a super low spawn rate. So honestly, look for it the best you can. If you find it, this is one that needs to go in your secure container. You do not want to be running around with this key in your pockets. If you find it on a scab, you need to get out of the raid as quickly as possible, because even right now in late wipe, this key is 100,000 rubles right now. While doing research for this video, I did find out that this key does have a static spawn. Now, this key is not always guaranteed to be there the way it is on like the machinery key or the unknown key. This is a little bit more like the dorm room 114 key. So the OLI Logistics Key can be found in the blue car trunk near the factory shortcut on customs. This is not the one that you hop up onto. Instead, I think this is the one beside it. You're going to open that trunk and you're just going to check right there for the OLI Logistics Key. I know I'm going to be checking this spot every single raid that I am able to get to this position, because this key is super rare and always super expensive if you end up buying it early on in the wipe. Finally, we have our honorable mentions that we didn't want to put on the list only because of either A, their ease of access, or B, just because they're valuable. They're not really needed for quests early on, but they're valuable. And so finding them early on are definitely those that you want to consider throwing in your secure container, because they're going to give you huge advantages later on. The first one of these is going to be the machinery key. The machinery key can be found in the 3-story dorms building in room 205. This room is one of the 2 rooms that is partially blocked. It's got kind of like the mattress or the bed frame kind of falling in front of it. If you're coming from the side of the building where all 3 of the entrances are available, when you go into the 2nd story there and you jump over, you're going to go to the right into that room, and it's going to be in the brown jacket. The next key that we're going to be talking about is the unknown key. This unknown key is used for the extortionist task and can be found on the dead body near the RUAF roadblock, or near what people used to call L, near the storage containers near the river. This body always spawns the unknown key, just like the machinery key spawns in 205, as long as no one else has picked it up. Now, my personal recommendation is to pick this up in your first raid if possible. If you're anywhere near this, definitely pick it up. What I do is, if I can craft a route to hit dorm room 205 and this body, I do it in my first raid, so that while other people are struggling to find it later on, while everyone else is doing those quests, I've already got it in my stash after my first raid. And unless somebody else has already grabbed it in that raid, I'm feeling good and don't have to worry about it, because I've already got it in my stash ready to go. The final honorable mentions are not going to be static spawns, but these have very high value. I got lucky to find one of these in my first raid last wipe, but any of the marked keys, while they've been nerfed heavily, they still spawn docs cases and key tools in them quite often. So you want to make sure that if you get one of these, you're throwing it in your secure container so that you can potentially get one of those key tools or docs cases, because these make your wipes a whole lot easier when you're trying to hit multiple rooms on different maps and things like that. You can organize your keys, get them all in one place so that there's no confusion as to what keys you have and don't have. And that way you're not cluttering up your secure container with keys, and instead can be holding things like meds or ammo that are a lot more valuable to you at that point. The first marked key is the dorm room 314. This is at the very end on the far right of the 3-story dorms. Most people are familiar with this one, but if you're not, that's the location of that. The other ones are going to be the RBVO and the RBBK marked keys over on reserve. One of them is going to be in the basement of the Black Pawn building, and the other is on the far opposite side of the map near the White Rook building in what we call the barracks buildings in my squad. Make sure that you're keeping your eyes out for all of these keys on your raid's wipe day. You'll want to make sure that you're hitting every jacket, every filing cabinet, every dead scab that you can, while keeping yourself alive to ensure that you can get all of these keys. In addition, make sure that you already know what item you're pulling out of your secure container if you find one of these keys. That way you're not taking time to try to figure out what item to keep in your secure container or not, and then get shot while you're trying to get a key that you really needed. Hopefully this video was helpful for you in getting some keys that you need to be prioritizing that first day. If you already knew some of these, that's great. I really appreciate you watching the video. If you found that the video was helpful, I'd greatly appreciate it if you would like the video and comment down below and let me know what key you have trouble finding most wipes, or let me know what keys you think that you should be prioritizing over these. I'd love to hear what you think down in the comments, and I'd greatly appreciate each one of them. To keep up with our future videos, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and then hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our future uploads on the channel. I will have plenty of resources in my Discord for you if you're looking for that kind of stuff. So if you join the Discord, you can join our Tarkov section and we'll have maps, info, all the items that you'll need for wipe, all that kind of stuff. In addition to that, I have tons of guides over on the Wipe Hype playlist. So you'll want to go over to that playlist, check out the guides that I have available there in terms of farming different items that you may need, all that kind of stuff. In addition to that, I will be live streaming every bit of my playthrough this wipe. So make sure that you're hopping over on the Twitch channel, give us a follow so that you are notified when we go live, and we'll be playing through all of it. So even if you're not able to play on wipe day, hop on and watch us so that maybe you can pick up on some tips that we like to do, or just so you can get your Tarkov fix while you're at work. With that being said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.